They killed Tommy's character in the show. Like, I know he's there in Seattle and we just haven't seen him, but he better get a redemption scene in the next, like, season when you're supposed to be playing as Abby, because it's not it right now. Danny.
I don't know.
Which one's Danny? Is that the guy with the bitch scar on his face?
Days back, they were
Okay, so that's not the guy with the scar on his face.
with a bullet in his stomach.
Not that I would know, but apparently getting shot in the stomach is the most painful spot to get shot.
As far as I can tell, there's no units going.
Evidently. You're right, it is Jordan.
So what about Owen?
You know who I forgot about completely until I replayed this game? Shoot, what's her name? It's not Nora, it's the other girl in the group. It's the first girl that you encounter. No, I know Mel. She dies. She dies really early on. She's the girl that flashes her tits in the, like, Polaroid.
Why the hell hasn't
And I can't remember her name. That's how like forgettable she is. Because that's the only thing I really remember about her. We see her at the TV station. Yeah, Leah. They cut her from the TV show, and, like, she immediately falls out of my brain as soon as I end the TV station run, because I just, like, don't care about her. Yeah, Mel's the pregnant one. Mel's the annoying one that's self-righteous in an apocalypse. Ridiculous. The one who likes to go on runs when she's deeply pregnant.
Inside. For Isaac.
Oh, it's Penny. Quarter.
Not my fault I'm so good at what I do. See you around.
The torture scene in the show was the wildest fucking scene. There was no reason that man needed to be balls out the entire... No, absolutely not. It was worse than torture. I love replaying and catching all the details that you missed the first time. Like, the girl that Manny hooks up with, the newscaster, or the weather girl, she even talks about the big storm that's coming. And there's, like, a lot of foreshadowing that you just completely miss if you're just playing it for your first run through. And during the playthrough, I knew to leave Bear alive. I can't always spare the other dogs, but I spare Bear. Am I gonna get attacked if I say I don't love it? I think Craig Mason needs to stay as far away from season 3 as possible, honestly. Oh, this dude's naked too. Okay, well, I guess I just blocked that out of my memory because I don't remember seeing hairy balls. But yeah, season 2.
Let's go up.
Okay, I did like season 1, and I'm not gonna talk about like how I think people are miscast, because I think Ellie does do a good job as a young Ellie, but they're doing so many changes, and I think those changes are doing like a ripple effect, right? So for example, they removed spores from the first season, which was fine because they didn't want to like cover up Pedro Pascal's multi-million-dollar face, because they're paying a lot of money for that dude, as they should. He's a great actor. But they removed spores because they didn't want to cover his face during all these scenes. And now they're backtracking and adding them back in when it should have just been there. But instead of the spores, they're doing this hive mind thing. So you can't really have small infected encounters anymore. If you do, like, the whole hive comes at you. So they've removed a lot of that. And I feel like the second season just keeps making these changes, and they don't think about how they affect things further on in the line. I'm so hyped for the Rat King, but how is this teeny tiny cutesy Abby that has been cast in the show, Caitlin Dever, I don't know how she's gonna 1v1 the Rat King, and especially when it like breaks off, like how is she doing that? She's not. It could blow on her and she'd fall over. Like, she's so tiny. I probably could take her. Like, you know, maybe she'll bulk up between season 2 and season 3, but then that kind of defeats the whole purpose. Like, the whole point of why she was like this buff was so she could fight the real monster in her head, Joel, you know. So I don't know. Now season 2 is I'm really struggling with it, and I'm trying to give it time, but I feel like they've dumbed down Ellie's character so much. And Ellie's my favorite character, right? Like, Ellie, like, as you can tell, I'm obsessed with Ellie. I love Ellie. Like, Ellie's my favorite character. And the fact that they've completely nerfed her, she doesn't know how to triangulate. She was supposed to be the top of her class when she was in school for Fedra. It's ridiculous. I don't know. I could talk for hours about this. Which I guess is kind of the point of going live.
Sir,
so, yeah.
That story. Owen's dead. Anyone who finds him, they'll gun him down for sport.
And I suggest you all stop gossiping about it.
Let me go after him. I'll walk him back in with the tunnel.
No.
You said yourself the storm's a few
No.
days.
We've only got one shot at this. And this is bigger than any of us. Definitely bigger than Owen.
They did a good job casting Isaac in the show, though. He's pretty. He's good on screen. It's kind of unfortunate that they've done such a splendid job casting minor characters. Yeah, why the hell did she snitch on Joel? I thought that was wild. I get it. Game Ellie and show Ellie are kind of just completely different people. Also, the fact that the porch scene was put not even at the end of this season. There's 4 seasons. They should have waited. And Neil Druckmann gets interviewed later on and says, like, oh, well, we can't make viewers wait 2 years. Why? You're milking this series for all it's worth. Like, why are you changing key details? Why are you making Ellie not mad? Like, I don't know. It's just ridiculous. I just think that key characteristics are being changed. And yeah, it's an adaptation. And if you say anything bad about the show, you get 20 billion people jumping down your throat. But I just think that they didn't. I don't know.
I know where he'll go.
Especially Craig Mazin. The fact that he views Dina and Ellie's relationship as a parent-child relationship is fucking wild. Like, did the dude even play the game? This is just gonna turn into a rant session, I guess. I totally agree they should make Ellie more vengeful, but it makes me so mad. Yeah, they've completely butchered Ellie's character. They've kind of butchered Abby as well, but Caitlin Dever's like a really interesting actor in terms of like the emotional scenes. Probably because I believe she was suffering like a real life, her actress was suffering a real life loss. I think she lost someone, maybe her father, so she was using all of those emotions. But I don't know. I think the show just has made so many mistakes, and mostly it's like all director, and the props department is great, but the makeup department is not helping Bella Ramsey. They've completely screwed over, like not giving her a bob haircut, giving her that weird ass slick back, giving her clean clothes. Wild. I feel like they're just trying to make it as bad as they can. Like, they could have at least given her freckles. That's true. Maybe we'll see her buff in the next episode. But the whole point of her buffing up is so she can take on Joel, and I gotta jump. The whole point of her buffing up is so she can take on Joel, so I don't know why she would buff up after she kills Joel. Like, I know she feels kind of like a monster.
Abby!
I'm down here, you asshole.
You jumped? And I missed it?
I thought you drowned.
And you came to my rescue?
No. I came to make sure you drowned.
Joel's death in the show or Joel's death in the game?
I think you're gonna have to follow me to see it.
They were both terrible for different reasons. The very first time I watched Joel died, I played the game in like 2020 when it released, and I stayed completely unspoiled, so I had no idea it was gonna come. And I played it right before like a graduation party, and I was like, alright, I've got like 30 minutes left, I think I can make it to the next cutscene. And the cutscene happened, and I had no more time to play. And so I like went to this graduation party, completely empty inside. I didn't even like, I feel like I didn't truly like cry until like Ellie does at the end. And then I sobbed like a baby at the porch scene. Obviously the porch scene in the game, not the porch scene in the show. In the show it's completely misplaced. But no, Joel's death in the game was just terrible. I thought it was very interesting how they didn't have him say anything in the game. I listened to the podcast and they said that they were originally going to make him say Sarah's name, looking at Ellie. And I thought that would have been like a gut punch as well. But it is extremely sad the more you think about it, because I think he does register that Ellie and Tommy are there with him, especially Tommy. And he, you know, his last thoughts is that he failed as a father again, which just tears me up inside. It's fine. This game just makes me... This game is the reason why I need therapy. Actually, I'm not gonna lie, I need therapy for many different reasons, but this game is contributing to them. How did you feel about the Joel's death in show? I did think that they did a pretty decent job at it. I didn't like the stabbing scene. I thought that was very, very sad. Where are we going? Are we still going somewhere? I've stopped paying attention to the game for a hot second. Okay, we've got to be going somewhere. Yeah, we're going up the stairs. I got goldfish brine. I'm like... Alright, let's get this.
Hey, give me a hand with this.
Abby, you haven't been lifting. For a while there, when I went to replay the game, I had to just completely skip that cutscene because it makes me so sad every time.
Well, clearly this is some sort of theater, but for fish.
What? Are you a rooster?
What? I'm a wolf. That's my wolf howl.
You're an idiot. You think this sailboat was part of the show?
No, looks like
Oh my god, the boat scene.
dock or something.
Baby clothes. We're
There's some
gonna get
kids'
a
clothes.
jealous Abby.
Bet a family came
But
through.
yeah, Joel's death. Terrible scene. Hated it. Awful. I did really like the parallels between Joel's death and Nora's death. There was a lot. Like the pipe was shaped like a golf club, and their backs were both against the wall. And while Joel was being like held down by Abby's crew, Nora was being held down by the spores. So there's a lot of things in the game that are terrible, but the details are just like insane.
I wonder what happened to him.
Maybe they joined the wolves.
Yeah, or got killed by scars.
Such an optimist.
Oh my god. Do you think this is a throwback to the first game? Agree. And also, biggest question, do you think Joel's decision was right or wrong? I am not going to lie, I'm a total Joel apologist. And I know that like technically his decision is supposed to be wrong. Like he's supposed to be the bad guy. He's not supposed to like sacrifice. He's not supposed to sacrifice the entire world for like his world, right? But I don't care. I love Ellie. I see why he did it. Like all of the arguments, I actually just made a TikTok on this. All of the arguments, like listing all the reasons why Ellie like shouldn't have been sacrificed. Like one of them being that the cure wouldn't have worked. Jerry would have actually been able to make the cure. But that's an argument that gets brought up to like justify like what he did, that they don't think the cure would have even worked. And then people say, oh, Ellie was too young to like actually consent. Or they say like, oh, the Fireflies would have just like used the cure as a weapon, like they would have weaponized it to like, because they're kind of terrorists, right? I agree with all those points, but I don't think that's the point. I think the point is it was a terrible decision. He's supposed to be the bad guy at the end, but not to you, because you're supposed to love Ellie just as much as him. and I would have done the same thing. Yes, I think that,
there.
like, not to be too cheesy, but if you take the phrase, like, when you're lost in the darkness, look for the light, Ellie was Joel's light. He had given up. He didn't even let Tess in.
Here.
Okay. Holy shit. Look at you.
I just know that Owen's a bottom.
Yeah, right.
And I think that's probably true in terms of the game. Like, they kind of do admit that it would have worked. But who cares? Like, fuck it. Ellie's worth the end of the world.
Kids laughing, running around.
My dad would love this place.
That is one of the things that I'm pretty upset about. Speaking of, like, Ellie, as, like, a younger Ellie, I'm a little disappointed that they've changed Ellie's entire personality in the show, even in season 1. Because, right, oh, wait, I'm supposed to talk to Owen. Even in season 1, Ellie was kind of a sociopath. Like, when Joel is beating the guard at the gate after he tags Ellie and discovers that she's infected, he discovers that she's infected, and Joel has to, like, beat the crap out of this dude, right? Ellie comes into frame and watches and enjoys it. Like, even in the podcast after the episode, I think the directors are like, yeah, Ellie enjoys watching Joel beat someone up for her. And then she crosses the infected in that little, like, house or whatever, and she dissects it with her knife, and she kind of, like, enjoys it. And low-key, that's, like, a little sociopathic. Or maybe psychopathic? I don't know which one. But it's a little fucked up, right? And in-game Ellie would never. Like, she was such a bright, happy kid. And yeah, maybe that was, like, a coping mechanism. But she was, like, a good kid. Good at heart. And, like, that's supposed to be the tragedy, right? In the second game, the tragedy is that you took this, like, innocent, kind, carefree, cute kid, right? Like, adorable, so sweet, and you took her, and the whole point of the game is you took this bright, innocent kid in a world this crappy. Because I had someone comment on one of my videos saying, well, it's more accurate for Ellie to be, like, a little sociopathic. It's not realistic for her to be a happy-go-lucky kid in an apocalypse. But that was the point. Like, she defied what was, like, probable.
You don't think it's worth it?
And that was the tragedy of the second game, that you took this cute, happy kid and you made her turn into, like, an absolute monster. But in the show, they're changing it. So I'm not even paying attention to Owen. In the show, they're changing it so that, like, Ellie always has this untapped rage, that Ellie's, like, a liar, and they use that by like, Gail, the therapist, talks about how Ellie's a liar and all this shit. And they've completely changed her personality. They make her, like, always angry, kind of like the Hulk. Like, that's the secret, I'm always angry, and she just, like, taps into it, and she has, like, a mask that she, like, doesn't let slip. It's just ridiculous. Whereas in the game, she's happy, and you see her slow descent into, like, madness and anger and everything. But then in the show, they make it that, like, whenever she's not with Dina, she, like, lets that mask slip and shows that she's really angry. Because even in the show, Gail is like, oh, I don't think Joel had a hand in anything. I think that Ellie was always this terrible person, and now they're just, like, walking side by side. Not fucking true. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Joel is the reason why Ellie is the way she is. Like, he was a parent. Nature versus nurture. Get the fuck out of here. I'm done with it. Anyways, I think I got off track a bit from your original question. I think because for cordyceps in real life, there's no cure, so that's what I think. It is totally true. Agree. But also, there is a bit of a lag with me reading the chat and your video, because not only I'm streaming through Twitch, and then I'm screen grabbing that and putting it on TikTok Live. Alright. Anyways, I feel like I didn't breathe for, like, the 5 minutes that I was ranting. So. But that's the fun part about, like, streaming. I just kind of got into it, like, successfully. Kind of starting to learn. And I love talking to people while I stream. I think it's probably because I had siblings growing
Wanna
up.
try those keys?
Like I had two younger siblings, and we'd share, right? Like it couldn't just be one of us hogging the PlayStation 2 or the computer. So we would switch back and forth. So one of us would always be watching. Like we would always have like an audience. So another thing that I'm kind of pissed about. Why did they make Owen look so old in the show?
There's a scar.
Like the dude looks like 30 or something like that. Even in the flashback, he looks old. Like why? And that's no better than the game, because in the game, his character model was based off of Jerry.
Get on in
Talk
here.
about daddy issues, right?
Wow.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah.
He's tall and he's got that beard.
You see that?
Look at little whiskers.
Told you they were spotted.
Yeah.
That being said, I know I've trashed the show a lot. It is still enjoyable to watch most of the time. Kind of, I have to just treat it as like an entirely different thing in my mind. Like I have to be very purposeful in not comparing the game and the show together, and just kind of trying to treat them like completely different characters, different story.
Slow down.
But damn, is it hard sometimes? Because even as a standalone, it's got its flaws. Like, my little sister's watching it, and she talks to me about it every week, and even she's not liking it. And she's never played the game, so she has nothing to compare it to.
I know all the leads have dropped.
I have high hopes for the last episode, kind of, and here's why. Neil Druckmann
But Joel's still out there.
is going to be like a producer director on that episode, so I think it'll be good that sense. But we have
What can I do?
all of day 3 Seattle to get through in like an hour and a half.
We can still make
Like, how are they going to shove all of that in there? We have to steal a boat. We have so much stuff to get through. Like, we have to come to care about Jesse as a character, because right now we haven't really had him on screen for very much. And you know that they like that, like, gut punch before they kill off a character, right? Like, that bonding moment right before they steal them away from you. So you know that they're going to have, like, a decent amount of Jesse. They're going to have Dina and Ellie, like your burden scene. Ellie doesn't even have her freaking bracelet yet from Dina, like the protective eye. I don't know. I just don't know how they're going to squeeze all of this in.
I'm sorry.
So, but I am excited because I do think that we're going to get some pretty cool action scenes. And honestly, out of all the changes they're making, maybe they can keep Jesse alive, because I kind of like Jesse, and I don't think his death really adds much to the game. Besides the fact that it is, realistic and whatnot. But the show's not realistic either.
Somewhere else.
Like,
He's there.
Ellie just
Let's get off the
transports
roof
to the
before someone
hospital.
sees us.
They really don't want to make you dislike Ellie as a character.
We all
Oh,
know
throwback
what
palette. They really don't want to make Ellie unlikable as a character in the show, which is kind of a shame.
Danny. I'm jealous Owen got to shoot
Like,
before I
all of
did.
her bad scenes are taken out. Like, she doesn't call Dina a burden. She doesn't, like, hurt the dogs. And that's, like, I feel like they're a big plot, or maybe not plot point, but it's a big way to
I
make
do appreciate
Ellie
you listening
unlikable.
out like this.
How are you?
They don't make Ellie, like, kill and torture people except Nora.
Can't. Too many
I
patrols.
don't know. She's
Good
just
spotter
so
for sure.
watered down. It's
I'll rough it.
annoying. Like,
Aquarium's due west of here.
what even was the
Following us
point?
up,
Like,
right?
she's supposed to be carrying the
Done
season.
this before.
She shouldn't be, like,
These
dragged
scars are
along.
real.
She shouldn't have Dina telling her that they shouldn't head back.
No best.
Ridiculous. I don't know. But yes, I am excited for the last episode.
So close.
Anyways, my favorite character from the show. My favorite character from the show is very different than from the game.
Are you
My favorite character from the show is probably Dina.
What? No. She doesn't care.
I was not quite sure how I would feel about her, but from like the very first episode, honestly, ever since Joel asked what you do to a live wire and she said lick it, She's got some good charisma.
There's one
Big fan of
last
Dina.
thing I want you to see.
And I feel like she's
Come upstairs.
a really good actress. Like, she's just really good in general on the screen. And I enjoy watching her.
You didn't put
But
a
in the
save
game,
did you?
Ellie is obviously my favorite, as I have 2 Ellie tattoos.
This is even cooler. Come on.
How about you guys? Who's your favorite character, game and show? Because it's probably different. Or, well, maybe it's different, I'm not sure.
Let's see.
Game is Yara, such a big
Taking that
sister
view.
and very self-aware of her flaws. Self-aware, I feel like, is something that most of the characters in, like, this universe in general is lacking. Like, most people in this show aren't very, or in the game aren't very self-aware. Except Joel. Joel's pretty self-aware. He knows he's, like, not, like, a good person. And Tess. Oh, I miss Tess.
Ow.
I really liked Tess. Show is Tommy. Yes, love Tommy. I can't wait to see him. I hope we see a lot of him in the next game.
Oh, whatever.
Joel will always be
Into
my
this
favorite both game and show,
Christmas
but also
thing,
Tommy.
and,
I love Joel so much. Very
so
much
one
like a
day,
father figure.
so-
Ah, you guys are making really good points.
I think you can go fuck
Probably, I might have to change
No,
my
I wish
answer from Dina to
Someone loved
Joel
me enough to
in
make
the
me
show.
happy.
But I still do love
Yeah,
Ellie.
third one.
And I think it depends on which game you're talking
smoking?
about. Because, like,
Someone
game
wants me.
1, for sure Joel. Because, like, you know, you're the main character. But
Why are you in
game
such a good
2,
mood?
Joel's not
Am I?
really in it as much. And Ellie's the main character. But Tommy's a lot of fun. I really wish we could have had, like, a DLC just, like, tearing through Seattle with Tommy. Being, like, the ghost of Seattle. That would have been dope.
He's at a settlement now.
Tess was
Heard
such a
from him
good
since?
character. It's sad how she got bit. Right? They
It's
did
a
Tess
lie.
so dirty
Yes,
in
they
the
did.
show, too. I
But you know,
hated
even if
how,
he is there,
one, that
you get
kiss was nasty. So unnecessary. Like, she didn't necessarily have to go out, like, guns a-blazing like she did in the game. But having that nasty-ass cordyceps shit go into her mouth,
Everyone's
gross. No.
Mel included.
They did my girl so dirty. And they made her basically beg Joel
Really
at
makes
the
me-
end. Like, their last dialogue between the two. And it was, like, so
I've
clear
never
in the
met that
game
many
that Joel,
people
like, really
nowadays.
cared about Tess, even
We
if they
already did.
weren't, like, necessarily, like, a
Bullshit.
relationship.
Who's more about
But it was
justice
still
than
very
lies?
clear that Joel cared a lot about Tess. And
He
he
knows
made
what
her
she's
know
done.
that before she died. And in the show, it was like she was just, like, begging him. And it just seemed, like, sad. I don't know. But, yeah, Tess was a really cool character. They really changed up how she looked, I thought, from game, like, the original game to, like, the remastered game. They aged her up, which was fine, because whatever. But it was kind of cool when she was, like, you know, young and hot. Do you guys know that they base Ellie's haircut and probably a little bit her style on Tess? So, like, in the show, Tess has longer hair and has it in a half ponytail. And that's why Ellie's hair is longer in the flash forward in season 2. And in the game, that's why Ellie wears her hair like Tess. Now, why they didn't make Tess's hair like they did in the game, I don't know. Because the long hair, slick back, not my favorite look. They could have just given Ellie bangs. Like, bangs would have helped so much. Did you guys like how they changed why Ellie was immune in the show in season 1? I liked seeing Ashley Johnson as a cameo, but I thought it was interesting that they made it that Ellie was only immune because, like, her mom got bit when she was pregnant. And I thought in the game originally it was because Ellie got infected with, like, a different strain of cordyceps that just, like, didn't affect them the same way. And I don't know if I, like, imagined that because I can't
Watch your
find
backs.
it anymore. I like the change. Plus, Ellie came into this world based on a lie from her mom. Ooh, didn't think of it like that.
Wolf, come on.
100%.
We have to move. Where are you going?
I also
Out of these
think
woods. We
it
gotta
was
run. Now.
really interesting seeing her mom cut the umbilical
this
cord
way.
with that knife. Like, that knife has been through some shit. I really hope Ellie finds the knife. What? I hope Ellie finds the knife, before she, like, goes back. Shit. She lost her fingers, can't play guitar anymore. They really just like twisted the fucking knife,
Direction looks the
and then they
same.
poured acid in
Sure
it.
you know where you're going?
Poor Ellie. Ellie needs another game. Preferably a game in which she survives. But oh fuck. What do you think about Seth's development in multiplayer? You played either Fedra or the Firefly. Ooh, that's cool. Fedra or the Fireflies. I don't know who I would want to pick. I kind of hate both of them. Seth's development was good. Like liking Seth was not on my bingo card for 2025, but it did happen. Although I will say I don't really think they needed to develop Seth's character any more than they did in the game. Like, it's okay that some characters are just like bigots. Like, they didn't need to give him a redemption arc, especially because I feel like they cut out so much of the second story in Ellie's like game through. They cut out like 3 different characters from Abby's crew. They they just had her teleport to the hospital. Oopsie daisy. They just had her teleport to the hospital, and so developing Seth's character I don't think was a terrible thing, because I did think that he got his redemption or whatever. Like, I mean, he was a terrible person, but hopefully he learned from it. But I just think that it's okay. Like, some people are just like bad guys, and I don't think that they should have developed Seth's character. I don't think they really needed to develop his character more, if it meant hurting the other characters' development, in which I feel like it did. The scene in the first and second game made you sad. Oh, that's a good question. Well, the scene that made me probably the most sad was Joel's death. But, like, that was just more, I feel like, shock value, almost. Because at the first time that I watched it, like, I just wasn't expecting that. Because, I mean, Joel was your character, you know? Like, he was who you played as. So I just didn't think that they were ballsy enough to do that. Ooh, there's a pipe across here. I want it. I didn't think that they were ballsy enough to do so. So I was just shocked that they did that. But I think that the most sad part, like, looking back, is that since Ellie's worst fear is... Oh, that's not infected. Since Ellie's worst fear is ending up alone, it's unfortunate that that is what she ends up as. Oh, motherfucker. Just come in. It's unfortunate that that's how she ends up. She ends up, you know, alone. And it makes me sad. I think that's probably the worst scene. The fact that, like, she's completely alone. She's sacrificed her relationship with Dina.
You don't have to follow us.
No longer with JJ. She did the equivalent of going out for milk with JJ. Just very sad. I think that's the saddest part about part 2. Part 1, I did think that it was really sad with Sam and Henry. I thought that was extremely sad. Oh, yes, I get my motherfucking bow and arrow, which is good because I need more silent weapons. Yeah, fuck yeah. I hated how in the show they come across a bow and like someone who's been killed by a Sarah fight, and they have an arrow in them, and Ellie doesn't collect the arrow. I wanted to scream at her. I was like, collect the arrow. Isn't good. The show is not as good as... The second season of the show is not necessarily as good as the first season, I would say. Like, it definitely could use its improvements. A lot of it, I think, has to do with the producer of the show. I think it's still worth a watch. I just think that they're making changes to the show and they've made some creative decisions I don't completely like understand. Oh, that's a new one. But still like like worth a watch, I feel like. Show is good versus for the second. Yeah, mid's like I agree. I think mid is like the best way to describe it, just because I don't know. It just doesn't really make sense, some of the shit they're doing. So if you get this guy in the head, it doesn't do anything. Move. Ah, there's a second clicker. Ah! I wish. Here's the thing about that comment. The show's gonna be 4 seasons long. Why 4? You know, like that's crazy to me. Like, why 4 seasons if they're gonna cut out so much of it? They're making Santa Barbara like its own season. I just think that's wild. I don't know how they're gonna make Santa Barbara like its own season. I think it's only like what, 6 hours of gameplay maybe.